talking about this for a number of weeks now. It's our individuality, our personality, our distinctiveness, our uniqueness. I like that quote there, we contain multitudes. When we're with certain people, we act certain ways, and when we're with certain other people, we act certain ways. Why is that? Was Jesus like that? What is that? One person even confessed to me that they're sort of like a chameleon. They're sort of like a chameleon. When they're with certain people, they're sort of like them, and when we're with this kind of people, they're sort of like them. And they just sort of are chameleon-like.
What are you always talking about?
Because you're human and a lot of us are like that.
Is like one person told me, I think I read it in the book, most of us are like the rest of us, and all of us are like some of us. We're very similar people. Everyone struggles with this essential question, who am I? Who am I? Sometimes when we think we have it nailed, all of a sudden, something happens. God created you and I in His image, after His likeness. In order to find the identity, our identity, we have to go back to why we were created. I have a pretty good-sized van.
Yeah.
You know, I could open up the back of it and say, this is a place I could live. I could put a little cot in there. I could do all sorts of things in there. And then all of a sudden, someone says, why are those wheels on there? I don't know. Maybe I need to take them off. And you might say, well, why would you do it? If we don't know what it is and what it was made for, we will create our own life in that. And many of us have created our own life in our own bodies, in our own families. We've created our own thing. But God's got a purpose for us. It says that we are created in Christ Jesus to do good works that He has predestined for us to do from the beginning of time. It's in Ephesians chapter 2. Os Guinness. He's an English man, more of a theologian. I heard him over in Canton some years ago. He says the problem with Christians in America is not that Christians aren't where they should be. The problem is that they're not what they should be, where they are. Many people are trying to move around somewhere to fit in, to find out where they fit in, because they don't know who they are. This all has to do with identity. How do we come to understand who we think we are? Not who we are. How do we come to understand who we think we are? Lots of times that has to do with our background, the people that were essential in our lives when we grew up. Who have you become? Because we're human becomings. And who are you becoming? That's all up to you and I. Hallelujah. Aaron and Danielle are going to get married here coming up. This is just a beginning. It's a brand new beginning. towards Jesus. She'll take a step towards Jesus. You take another step towards Jesus. She takes another step towards Jesus. You take it. Guess what? The closer you get to Jesus, the closer you guys get to each other. Isn't that how it works? Many times what we do is we go this way, and you go over here, and you're going to say, come my way, honey. And she says,
Going farther away.
I'm going this way. Or she says, come this way. And you know, that works for a while. But eventually it doesn't work. Because it's either your way or her way. As one person says, it's not your way or her way, it's Yahweh. It's got to be God. The closer we get to God, the closer we'll get to each other. And that's who we find who we really are. Because many couples have power struggles, pulling each other this way or this way or this way. There's only one power. And as we get close to Him, and that's the same thing with churches. Who are we becoming? Who are you becoming? Consider this. Every day we are in motion. Whether we overtly say we are drifting. Or we are setting our heart on something. Either we passively drift and become something that we really don't want to become. There was a time in my life where I just passively drifted in my weight. And I got very heavy because we all are becoming something. Our decisions determine that. And sometimes our indecisions determine that, which is a decision. I mean, you know that indecision is a decision. How do we authentically become the person that God destined for us to become? No one determines who you are except you and God. God already knows who you are, but it's up to us in partnership with Him to determine if we're going to walk that way. Here's an interesting story. Terry Wardle has this book. It's called Identity Matters. And in this, he tells a story from his childhood. Terry had a hand-me-down, fixed-up, big, blue girls Schwinn bike. I don't know why he had a blue girls. Maybe it was a hand-me-down. Yeah, it's a hand-me-down. One day, his mom finally let him venture outside the neighborhood with this hand-me-down, big blue Schwinn bike. He says, I had broken free of the constraints of my little neighborhood. And now I was on my own to become and experience this great adventure. I felt like I was somebody. Even on this big blue girl Schwinn bike with saddlebags. As I crossed the railroad tracks and then rumbled over a small creek on this single-lane bridge, he said it was great. I'd gone quite far from my home. But as I began to cross this bridge, 4 teenage boys stepped onto the far side of the bridge. I intended to pass them by, but they had other things in mind. One of the boys grabbed my handlebars and spun my bike to an abrupt stop. Hey, where do you think you're going? He snarled. Another boy chimed in, yeah, kid, where are you going? Instantly, I knew they intended to beat me up. I was petrified. I couldn't fight or break free to run, so I stood there frozen. Suddenly, one of the bullies asked, what's your name, kid? I answered him in this high-pitched, pre-adolescent, quivering voice, Terry Wardle! The 3 remaining teenagers got a bit silent, and we looked at one another nervously. Are you related to Tom Wardle? Tom was a much older cousin who happened to play defensive end on the high school football team. So he kind of thought of it. He says, I lied and I told him Tom was my brother. great kid, and if anyone ever gets you in trouble, tell us and we'll take care of them. Tom said that was a formative day for him. He says, I learned that simply bringing Terry World is not enough. It wasn't enough to be respected, accepted, and safe. Being who we think we are isn't enough. But you know what? When we identify ourselves as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, all of a sudden heaven is right there. We are God's child. Because alone we can't tackle the enemies of this world. Jesus says in this world, you're going to have problems. You're going to have, he calls it tribulation. That sounds like a huge problem to me. That's kind of multiplied mountains of problems. And then Jesus says, be of good cheer. I will overcome them. And then he wants to come and live inside of us. And he says, understand this. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in this world. The greater one lives in us. We've looked at the different I am statements. I am the bread of life, the light of the world. We've looked at some of these. I'm the bread of life. Jesus is saying he's the one who will satisfy our eternal hunger. When we begin to understand who God is, we begin to understand who we are. How many know that itch, that something's not right, that you know that life has more for me? I used to think that thing drove me down the wrong path. But how many of us know that God put that hunger in you? I've heard it says that in all of us, God has put a God-shaped hole in us. And not until we come to God will that hole ever be satisfied. It's a blessing to be hungry. Like we come to this church service. How many know this church service isn't enough? You go and say, there's got to be better than this. And there is. It's God. We go to him. He's the one who will satisfy our eternal hunger. We got to go to him. We need a relationship with him. I'm the light of the world, Jesus says. He will keep us on the path of stumbling in this dark world. He says, I'm the door. And we go in and out and find pasture. He's the door that we go through, that we talk to about our decisions in life. And as we go through Jesus in our daily lives, we will find the good life. He's the good shepherd. We will never lose hope and mercy when he is our leader. As he leads us, he will lead us into green pastures. I am the resurrection and the life. Through simple trust in Jesus, we find eternal life. The more we understand who Jesus is, the more we understand who we really are. He's the good shepherd. Therefore, we are just what? We're sheep. Sheep are cute and cuddly. Have you ever seen sheep naked outside of the flock? One of the things that the enemy wants to do is isolate us out there. But we can just be with people, but that doesn't mean we're really having fellowship, connection. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. This is the sixth of the I am statements found in John. Like what Roland Mays says, it's an old and ironic habit of human beings to run faster when we've lost our way. How many know that oftentimes busyness Some people don't want to stop. Pause. Some people don't want to turn things off. They always have to have things on. People don't want to be alone because of the noise inside. It's louder. Because really, that's a sign you've lost the way. You've lost the way. This is the passage where this particular statement of Jesus, where he says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life," is out of John chapter 14. What was going on in John chapter 14 in the life of Jesus at that time? This is the upper room. It starts with chapter 13, goes to 14, 15, 16, and then the high priestly prayer of Jesus in 17. There was turmoil for Jesus. They were wanting to kill him. The Jewish leaders were wanting to kill Jesus. He's with his disciples in a very intimate moment. He just got done washing their feet, and they had communion. Now he says, let's read this. Don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God. Trust also in me. How many know that one of the main issues of why our hearts get all worked up is because we let it? Come on now. That there is a connection between trusting God and our hearts being troubled. How many know that? It's hard to trust God if you don't know God. Right? You got to get to know Him. I got about a $40,000 van. I'm not sure if I would trust everybody with the keys and say, "Now go there. I want you to go to the store and get all my stuff." I'm not sure. I'm not thinking. I'm not saying that anybody here is going to steal the thing, because I'm not sure what you do with it. If you sell it, I don't know. But I'm not sure if everybody knows how to drive that thing. It's a big boy.
You don't bend in the middle.
It's a big boy. I have to get to know people before I can trust them. And trust, we can throw trust around to God. You know, just trust God, just trust God, just trust God. It's not blind trust. It's trust that depends on our knowledge of Him. Do we know Him? The deeper we know Him, the deeper we'll trust Him. And how do you get to know? What are you smiling about, David?
Because you know me, that's why you don't trust me with your baby.
I was just thinking the same thing. I don't think I'd want his keys.
He's talking to His disciples. Don't let your hearts be troubled. We have decisions. We make decisions. Did you know that you have a control mechanism not to go there? Turn to your neighbor and say, you don't have to go there. You don't have to go to the worry, fret, anxiety place. You don't have to go to that worry, fret, anxiety, stress place. You don't have to go there. Jesus at this moment knows the cross is before Him. He knew He was going to die on the cross. He told him that in Matthew In Matthew 16, he pulled his disciples aside and says, you know what's going to happen? The Son of Man, he's referring to himself. The Jewish leaders are going to capture me. They're going to kill me. I'm going to rise from the grave in 3 days. He knew what was before him. They were out looking for him to kill him. It was during these moments right here where Judas was taking the money to the leaders of the Jewish Sanhedrin and says, I'll tell you where Jesus is if you give me some money. That's what was going on here. Jesus did let his heart get troubled. And he's telling his disciples, you know what? How does it exactly look? How's the next days going to exactly look? Do you know how the next days are going to exactly look? Do you know how the next days are going to exactly look? You know, Keith, do you know the next days that are exactly going to look for your arm and what's going to happen by the end of this year and what's going to happen in December? Do you know how things are exactly going to look? No. Neither did Jesus. Other than that, if you trust God, truly trust God, it's going to work out. Then he tells them, there's more than enough room in my Father's home. If this were not so, would I have told you that I'm going to prepare a place for you? Jesus never had a house. How many know that? He never had a physical house. It says the Son of Man has no place to rest his head. You're like Jesus. You're like Jesus. You don't have a house. All right, Jesus never had a house. I don't know. How does he live? What's he do? How does he do this stuff? He's looking to go back home to his house in heaven. He said, there's more than enough room in my Father's home. I've been up there. You know, this is temporary down here. This isn't permanent down here. This is just a blip on the screen. And you know, I'm going to go prepare a place for you. You know what? There's lots of rooms in this house, brother. Jesus said, hey, I'm going ahead of you. And you know, don't worry about where you're going to live. I've got it covered. When everything's ready, I will come and get you so that you will always be with me where I am. Because just previously to that, he says, you know, I'm going to be leaving you. You know, that freaks him out. When everything's ready, I will come and get you so that you'll always be with me where I am. And then he says, and you know the way to where I'm going. Okay, let's read verse 5. No, we don't know, Lord, Thomas said. We have no idea where you are going. So how can we know the way? Let's just think about this. How many have ever followed somebody in a car? You don't know the way, but the only way that you're going to get there is following them.
Yes. And that's off the track.
And you catch a light.
Or there's another car that looks just like him.
But the
There
only
you go. That's another good metaphor.
okay.
Thought I was following.
But hear what he says. We have no idea where you're going. So how can we know the way? And Jesus just comes right out with it. I am the way, the truth, and the life. And we come to the Father sent through me. I'm the way. You know what? You don't need to know the individual strategy, how it's all going to work out. You don't need to know the strategy. You just need to know Jesus, because he says, I'm the way. You don't have to know the details of how you're going to get there. Just follow me. I'm the way. And not only truth. Okay? Following Jesus is following truth. And it will equal to real life. It will equal to a life, a real life. Verse 7, if you had already known me, you would know who my Father is. From now on, you do not know. You do know him and have seen him. Do you really want to know who God is? Get to know Jesus. That's what he's saying. If you really want to get to know the Father, just know me. In John 10:10, he says, I and the Father are one. Philip said, Lord, show us the Father and we will be satisfied. Well, didn't you just hear me? I said, if you want to know what the Father is, just look at me. But then this question, it's a begging question. Let's read verse 9 together. Jesus replied,
Have I been with you all this time, Philip, and yet you still don't know who I am?
I think this is the plight of many Christians. They've been with Jesus all this time. They've entertained him all this time, but they don't know who he is. Because you're still looking at the details and not at the master. You're still looking at the strategy and not at the strategist. Jesus says, I'm the way. Can you just let your worries go? Can you let your stress go? Can you let your anxiety go? Can you let your fretting go? And trust me. Just trust me. Get to know me and trust me. And then he goes on, anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. So why are you asking me to show him to you? It's an interesting study. If you want to go through the Gospels, questions that Jesus asks. Here's one of them. I've been with you all this time, and yet you still don't know who I am. That's a begging question. Don't you believe that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me? The words I speak are not my own, but my Father who lives in me does his work through me. Just believe that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. Or at least believe because the work you have seen me do. He's getting to the root of the problem, why they can't follow him. Because they don't believe. On the deep levels, they don't believe. They believe intellectually, but in their heart, they're not believing and following. In their heart. I tell you the truth. Anyone who believes in me will do the same works I have done, and even greater works, because I'm going to be with my Father. If that would be the case, the church should have a tremendous influence in this world. Look what one man did, Jesus. And he says, the people who believe in me are going to do greater things than I've ever done. That's the fruit of believing in Jesus. You can ask me for anything in my name, and I'll do it so that the Son may bring glory to the Father. Yes, ask me for anything in my name, and I will do it. If you love me, obey my commands. Now that's it. All of a sudden, he's getting into love. If you love me, belief and love are connected. Those who we believe in, if we really believe in Jesus, we'll love them. And if we really love Jesus, we'll believe in him. And it's just not loving him like a friend, it's loving him as our Lord. I think the biggest problem, oftentimes, and I've seen it in my life and I've seen it in other people's lives, that one of the biggest problems we have is that our heart is not in it. Wasn't that what the problem was with AA way back when?
Absolutely.
Your
I have
heart,
every excuse in the world.
your heart was, you attended, you said the right things, you went to the right places. Exteriorly, you did all what, but you know, inside, your heart wasn't there. We can be close, but so far. We can be so close, but so far at the same time.
She's that one.
You follow me, I'm lost.
They had to make Paul Harvey's Hall of Fame for bumper stickers.
Oh, there.
I have a clip here. It's two clips. It's a song, and then it's the song that says, it's Tell Your Heart to Beat Again.